once time has passed, and I keep having to move on with songs, you know, they're real sort of markers in the book of, you know, that I keep writing. So it's very hard for me to kind of go back in time with them. But Anything Had Happened is a big favourite because I just remember being in such a happy place when I wrote it. It was kind of melancholy because I'd just broken up with somebody, which, as we all know, is for some reason the most painful thing in the world. But at the same time, I was back in my hometown writing with somebody that also lives in my hometown, and we just came up with this song. And whenever I play it live, it just kind of has this euphoria and brings everyone together. And I see people in the crowd just so happy, and it has some kind of rave element to it that just makes everyone kind of go a bit crazy. And yeah, so I have such good memories of that song, and it was also just one of those songs I wrote in like half an hour. It just kind of happened. I also am very proud of the song Flux, which I played earlier, and I was just proud of myself for the honesty and the way that I managed to capture what I was feeling. I think subconsciously or sometimes consciously, I've always written with other people in mind, and not in the sense that I want to please people, but I love the idea of providing people with a resolution or with some kind of consolation for what they're going through. Music is, you know, one of the most powerful things in the world, and we all kind of speak its language. So when I write lyrics, I understand how much of an impact they can have on people, and so I'm always aware of that. And so when I'm writing about a breakup, or I'm writing about the state of the world or the planet or whatever, I try and make it hopeful. If I could be described as, you know, being a musician that made people, you know, that gave people hope, then I'd be really happy. Skrillex, when I first met him, he was a pioneer in electronic music. Actually, I really feel like he was a new sound. He was refreshing, and I was completely fascinated, completely enthralled by what he was doing, and I just wanted to be a part of it. I have such an affinity for electronic music, and since I was a kid, my mum listened to lots of rave music and dance music, and we had a very specific phase in the UK and London, especially, of dance music. We had garage, and then we had deep house, and I guess we like to think of ourselves having a very unique place in music in that sense in London, and so I was completely inspired by that growing up. And I only discovered, you know, like musicians, people playing instruments and bands when I was in my teens. I'd never listened to the Beatles, I'd never listened to Fleetwood Mac, I'd never listened to Bob Dylan. So it was just like a sensory overload by the time I listened to all these singers like Stevie Nicks, Joni Mitchell, that it was a new world. So, I mean, that's probably when I realised that I could be a singer, because I had this really unusual voice that I didn't know could be, a thing until I heard other singers with unique voices and lyrics and honesty, and I thought, oh, I could do this. I came home one night and I was a bit drunk, and I think we'd been out camping somewhere in a field. I grew up in the middle of nowhere. And I switched on the TV, tiny box TV at the time, and Björk was singing on stage somewhere, I think maybe at the Albert Hall in London. And I just remember being completely transfixed, and I'd never seen anyone sing or perform like it before. And all of a sudden I'd gone from listening to, you know, pop singers I was obsessed with. In fact, I loved Lauryn Hill, I loved Alicia Keys, I loved Beyonce, I loved Destiny's Child, and I loved girl groups, and then I saw this singer, and it kind of resonated with me, because people had always told me that I shouldn't sing because I had this really unusual voice, and had such a lack of control, and I could sing high, I could sing low, I could sing hard, I could sing soft, I could do these, you know, crazy things with my voice, but it didn't ever really seem to have a place anywhere, and I couldn't write the right songs, and nothing seemed to sound right. And when I heard Björk, I suddenly was like, well, she's got this beautifully inventive and unusual, curious voice, and it suddenly made me feel very powerful, like that I could sing after all.
What's up, y'all? This is B.O.B.
This is G-Eazy.
I'm Mo. This is Julia Michaels.
This is Logic. Make sure you subscribe to the Recording Academy channel. Flex.